on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. And let's try that again. Welcome to our Fiery Embers show on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. This live show is not one that is going to bring you the latest tip on how to increase your VO2 max, but it will make you laugh, which will have cardio benefits. So stick around and get to learn more about our guests, the world of running, swimming, cycling, food, music, television, movies, all of the above. Today, I am being joined by Josh Cronin, who is a longtime friend of the RTB community. Josh recently, as in just yesterday, ran his first marathon, the Eugene Marathon. So we will talk to him about that, but probably not about paces or finishing times, but more about what food he wanted most as he neared the finish line, because that is what we're most interested in. But before I bring Josh on, check out the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platform. We have a variety of shows, which means we have something for everyone, from music and food to human interest stories of everyday athletes overcoming obstacles to reach their finish line. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review our network so that we can continue to bring great guests like Josh to the show. So without any further delay and more rambling from me, let's get Josh on here. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You know what's funny is we do the pre-show and we get into the green room, and I already know how you're doing. And then I have to ask that question when we get started. And it's like the most uncomfortable question ever. I got to figure out a different initial question from this point forward.
Well, yeah, I mean, you asked me the first time, I said I was doing terrible. So, I'm just lying now.
And that's the behind the scenes stuff you get on our Fiery Embers show. I just lied to you, people.
Yep. No, I'm doing great. And I was doing great then. So, yeah.
All right, dude. You just finished the Eugene Marathon, which was your first marathon. So congratulations. That is an enormous accomplishment. Super proud of you. But the thing I'm most interested in is, let's say we get to the 20-mile marker. What food are you starting to look forward to the most as you go from mile 20 to 21, all the way up to, I guess, 26.2?
I'm gonna give you my honest answer first, and then my theoretical answer. Honestly, at mile 20, 21, I wasn't thinking about food at all. I couldn't eat what I brought, which were just some gummies. I couldn't, I was kind of mad at everybody and everything at that point in the race. Even after the race, I wandered out into the area where you collect yourself and waited for the family to show up. And they showed up and they're like, "Can we get you this? Can we get you that?" And I'm like, "No, thank you," was my polite answer. In my head, I'm like, "I just want to be left alone. Leave me alone." But as I started to recover and started to feel a little better, I was thinking ice cream.
Okay.
Which, throwback to Food Fight Friday, I could chug a pint of ice cream. Fried chicken sounded really good for some reason. And I don't know that that's not something I eat very often, but I was like, man, if we were going to stop somewhere on the way home, just some greasy KFC sounded pretty good.
Yes.
I ended up coming home and not eating much until late. And we actually ordered some pizza, and I went with pizza.
That's a good choice.
And got some pizza down last night. And then this morning is when the real eating began. I had 2 bowls of cereal. I'm not a breakfast eater. I had 2 bowls of Raisin Bran.
Yes.
I know, one of your favorites. 2 bowls of Raisin Bran. I had 3 pieces of pizza, one of which I ate while I was waiting for a bagel to toast. So I had a cinnamon roll, and I had some recovery drinks. So I'm back on the path, man.
It sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
All right. So follow up to the desire for KFC, because I've had those moments too where I'm like, man, a bucket would be awesome right now. Are you a biscuit or the mashed potato guy when it comes to the side at KFC?
I'm not going to choose. I'm going to have both. When it comes to carbs, first off, I'm Irish, so I'm always going with potatoes in any form. I've never had a bad potato. And biscuits anytime too. I'm going to do both. Not if it's I don't go for the honey on the biscuit, just some butter on a biscuit.
Right.
But yeah, man, biscuits and potato, and maybe a nice extra crispy chicken thigh. We're good.
Lori and I are in a disagreement about this. Do you prefer biscuits or English muffins?
If it's a breakfast sandwich we're talking about, I'm going to go biscuit. One of my guilty pleasures is the very occasional McDonald's drive-through breakfast, and it's always a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit.
There you go.
Sometimes two. And but just for like a breakfast kind of vehicle for butter, an English muffin is the answer, because you can put like a quarter stick of butter on one English muffin, and it's just, it's an excuse to drink a cup of melted butter.
It's incredible. By the way, I used to play fantasy baseball in a league when I lived in New York, and the team name was Melted Butter, just so everybody understands where I'm coming from when it comes to food.
Yeah. It's a perfect food, really. I mean, I don't know what it's perfect for, but it's perfect.
Satisfying you. That's what it's perfect for.
Wait, so which team are you? Are you team English muffin?
I am absolutely team English muffin. I'm not a fan of biscuits. I've had one too many that are just dry. You bite into it and it just crumbles all over the place. It's just a mess.
Yeah, that's no fun.
All right, dude. The London Marathon was this weekend as well. So many people will have completed the 6 world majors. So I want you to rank your 6 world majors based on the foods from the area. So you got New York, Chicago, Berlin, Tokyo, London, and Boston. Sydney doesn't count yet because it hasn't officially been introduced as the 7th yet.
Oh, wow. And I have to rank these, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just thinking about whether I want to be true to myself or whether I just want to trigger you. So
yes, all of the above.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm going to go Chicago first.
Oh, no.
You got the Chicago dog.
Yeah, but I don't understand that thing. Pickles on hot dogs. Come on.
It's just a little bit of everything, It's a beautiful thing. And Chicago was the closest big city to where I grew up in Indiana. So that was where I sort of cut my teeth on big city stuff. So I'm going Chicago first. You got the Chicago dog. You've got
that bowl
a lot
of soup
of really good
pizza.
Eastern European food there. And you've got Chicago deep dish pizza, which
tomato soup bowl. Yes.
Yep, the tomato soup bowl. Get out your knife and fork. The nice thing is you buy one, it stays warm for like an hour and a half. It's like it's got so much thermal mass that it just stays hot forever. So unlike the New York stuff, which you got to eat fast.
But it's better when it's cold too. So there you have it. Like I don't need it to stay warm for an hour and a half.
Fair enough. All right, so Chicago, and then I am going to go. I think I'm maybe gonna go to Tokyo.
Nice.
Just because there's a lot of really interesting, delicious Japanese food, a lot of which I've never really experienced in its true form, like really, really good sushi. Lots of interesting food. Tokyo is known for just fascinating and delicious high level food. So I think I'm going to go to Tokyo. And then I'm going back to New York because, I might give you grief about the pizza thing, but a New York slice has got to be pretty amazing. I've not been to New York City, not had true New York pizza, but I'm sure it's fantastic, and I love all kinds of pizza. So I'm going to go New York.
Don't forget the bagels and the cannolis while you're there too.
Bagels and cannoli, yep, definitely. And everything else, really. I mean, you can get anything in New York, and it's going to be top tier.
Extremely accurate.
So New York, and then I'm going back over to Berlin. I've spent a little bit of time in Germany, and there's some really great hearty German food. After a couple of weeks there, I was craving a salad like nobody's business. But if you're into lots of meat and dumplings and cabbage and carbs, it's pretty tasty. And what do we have left?
We have Boston and London left.
Oh, I'll go Boston next because, whether it's from Boston or not, the Boston cream donut is the best donut.
It's a great
and
question. I have no idea if it was invented in Boston.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know what else comes from, but what's Boston known for food wise?
Seafood.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Boston only wins out over London because I'm gonna not go highbrow like new cuisine for London and just assume it's like your classic British cuisine.
Yeah, bangers and mash. Oof, come on, that's good stuff.
It's good stuff, fish and chips, sure, but England is not known for its cuisine. When your spice rack is salt and pepper, you know.
Craig Lewis, we apologize in advance for what was just said.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you've got, representatives over there that are,
We'll be in trouble if the Toronto Marathon ever becomes a world major. We have so many people in Canada, and if you rank them after any of these other cities, we might lose a whole audience that way too.
I wouldn't do that. I love Canadians and I love Canadian food, so I would never do that. To be fair, I have some ex-in-laws who are British, and that may have tainted my
That'll
my
do
take
it.
on things. And again, the Irish background. There's an old grudge there.
There's a lot. I see. There's a lot happening here. This is why you talk to people, folks. You start to get the true stories after a while.
Yeah.
All right, dude. I love movies. And so I'm going to switch gears and put us into movie land in Hollywood. Who's playing Josh Cronin in the movie of your life?
I'm only picking this because I've been likened. This is the only actor I've ever been likened to where people say, you look like this person. First off, I'm going to ask if you can guess.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
I'm terrible at these games.
Even with the bald head.
Oh, my goodness. What's his name? Oh, shit, dude. You're going to have to spit it out, and I'm going to lose my mind because I'm going to know exactly what it is.
I'm going to pick John Malkovich.
Yes!
That's the one I get. That's the only one I get. And he's a hell of an actor. So
yes.
I'm going to be picking John Malkovich. For
sure. Is the title of the movie going to be Being Josh Cronin?
It is. Yeah. Yep. Anytime anybody on these, online trivia things, whatever, they're like, what movie could have the perfect star where nobody could ever play that role better than the original actor? I always go with Being John Malkovich.
Yeah, that's it. Dude, now once you took your hat off, like I could see the face of John Malkovich. I just couldn't get his name out of my brain fast enough.
Yeah. And I never know if that's a compliment or not, but because he's not known for his looks, it's not like I'm being compared to, insert handsome Hollywood guy here. But I'll take it.
Dude, I would take John Malkovich in a day, no doubt. Like, the dude's a great actor. He's been in a lot of good things. He's funny,
He is.
That's absolutely a winner. Zero doubt that's a winner. What's the song that's playing as the opening intro happens then?
Oh, man. So there's a song, one of my favorite artists, singer-songwriter kind of guy is Jason Isbell. He's I'm going to say Americana, sort of lefty country. And he's got a song called Hope the High Road. And it's really good. It digs into a lot of I think the first line is, I used to want to be a real man. I don't even know what that means. And that sums it up for me, like what I grew up with, my ideas of masculinity and all that stuff. And then just some switch flipping along the way where I start questioning all these ideas. And he talks a lot about that coming from the South and coming from a certain culture and then just getting really thoughtful about all of it. So I'm going with that. I mean, Hope the High Road.
This is not to be a serious show, but that statement is similar to the one that we had in the green room, which was where did the 4-hour marathon, this arbitrary number, come from? Sort of like this arbitrary definition of what being a man is supposed to be like who's making up this shit? And all of a sudden it just sticks against the wall and you're like, why is any of this happening?
Yeah. We got to save that for future. I was like, I tried to remind myself. I'm like, this is not Enduring Minds. This is Especially post marathon, where I'm just questioning absolutely everything about myself.
I believe it, dude. I believe it. So I know it's basically been about 24 hours. Have you even thought about a registration button at this point? Or are you like, I just want to keep eating 3 slices of pizza, a biscuit, an English muffin,
Yeah.
2 bowls of Raisin Bran?
Yep. It's a little bit of both. I hear people, I see people say like, man, I signed up for the next one as soon as I finished, which I did last year. I finished the half and I registered for the full that same day. I was so stoked. I was so excited and amped up. I'm giving it some time. I think I'll do another marathon, but I 26.2 miles on the road on pavement is just a lot. It's a lot of just like I want to get back out on the trails more. And I tried to not think about that until now because I knew that after the marathon, I wanted to shift towards trails. I wanted to get back into trail running more because that's where my heart is. That's where I have the most fun. This race was not fun. I didn't have like I just didn't. And I think I've had fun in almost every other race, like road races, but like somehow like this came out, this was just not fun. There was not, I wrote on my hands, it's gone now, but across the backs of my hands, I had gratitude and joy written in marker on my hands. So that as I'm running, that's a reminder of why I'm doing it. And man, if I had some soap and water at about mile 15, I would have scrubbed that off and just put hate and loathing. It just,
Isn't that a Johnny Depp movie?
Yeah, I think so. Fear and Loathing. Yeah, there was some fear involved. And there was a lack of fun in this one that I hadn't experienced previously. And it's pavement, it's buildings. I want to get back out in the trees. I want to bomb down some hills and jump over some roots and just get back out in the woods more. Like I said, like I was saying earlier, I think that was in the green room, but like everybody passing me for 20 miles was a little disheartening. Nike Super Shoes, I want to just, my feelings for them are so terrible. Like you hear them coming. I don't know whether it's just like they're super hard, but it sounds like there's a horse coming up behind you. And I hear, this person clop, 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 clop. And, I'm like, are they wearing scuba fins or, and they pass me, of course, because everybody was. And there's that swoosh and I'm just,
It's so interesting. Like, I know when I was racing Ironman and riding my bike often, I have a pair of flow cycling wheels. And the reason why I love them for race wheels is because they are loud as fuck, right? They are so loud that you're alerting the person ahead of you. Like I'm coming up on you and I'm going to pass you on your left. And you hear, it sounds like a swarm of bees as you're passing. And so now I can only imagine like the sound of that, as I'm passing somebody on the bike, just being like, geez, just get past me already. So I don't have to hear that shit anymore.
Yeah. I wonder if that's part of their design. Nike's like, it's like intimidate your opponents. Yeah. They're going to hear you coming. They're going to think it's a Clydesdale coming up behind them. And also don't fly past them. Go as slow as you can and get up behind them for as long as possible. Sort of draft off their shoulder for about 3 minutes before you go around them. So,
do you ride bikes? Are you a cyclist?
I am not. I like cycling. I used to cycle. I've never had a good bike. I rode a big charity ride. I did like an 80-mile ride on a 1974 Moto Bacane, which is still my bike. That's my daily bike, and I'll commute to work on it sometimes. But it takes too long. I love riding, but with a family, it's like if I want to get a workout in, I can't go for a 7-hour bike ride. I can get out and put an hour in on my feet.
Yeah.
But so I want to get back into it someday, but it's a big time commitment.
Yeah. What you were describing though of the drafting, like there is no worse sound as a rider when you're the lead cyclist and the person gets up behind you and you just hear the sound of the wheels turning and they're not pedaling. You just hear the because that you're literally just pulling them along and you're like, can you just go around and it's your turn to pull? Like, I feel like I've been doing this for 30 minutes. It's probably been 30
Right.
seconds, you know? You're like, can you just go
Yeah.
around me and start pulling a little bit, please?
Yep. I felt that way with some of the pacing groups as the subsequent pacing groups passed me, they come up and I hear them behind me in a pacing group, everybody sort of gloms together on the pacing group. So you've got like the 350 folks and I'm out there for, 5 miles ahead of the 350 group. And then they start inching up on me and they're all behind me, and 350 group, 4-hour group, 410 group, 420 group.
So, dude, I have to tell you this story. Years ago, a friend of mine and he comes up to me and he's like, hey, I think we can beat Michelle's time at the half. I think at that moment, my fastest half was like 135 or something. And her fastest half was 131. And I was like, yeah, I think we can knock 4 minutes off. Sure. I'm like, what race are we aiming for? And he's like, oh, the one that's in like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was like, dude, we've been running on trails for like, what do you mean? He's like, I think we can do it. I'm always in for a bad idea. So I do like 2 training sessions, 2 speed sessions, right? Get to the start line, and we're literally at the front, like just him and I at the front with the elites. Because if we don't get a good enough start, there's no way it's ever happening, right? So we take off, and the first 2 or 3 miles, I'm looking at my watch, and it's like 6:30 or something in that vicinity. I'm like, holy shit, we're gonna fucking do this, man! Like, I cannot believe this. And then, and then, like the first screw falls out of the bus, and like by the time I get to mile 9, the 135 group has passed me, the 140 group has passed me, and the 145 group is on my heels. And there's a friend of ours at mile 9, and they're like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, there are no more wheels on this bus. Like, everything has fallen completely off of this bus at this point. And I did my damnedest to stay ahead of the 150 group as hard as I possibly could. But similar to the sound of a bike coming up behind you and, ready to pass you, like you can hear them all talking and they're all, right? Like they're all in a good mood. And I'm like, fuck, man, like this hurts. Why are we doing this?
Yeah. That's, you get people blow by you who are full on conversation, and you're just struggling to survive, and they're just like chatting away, talking about what they're doing tomorrow, what they're going to eat tonight. And like, it just sort of breaks your soul a little bit. And, I think that's the difference sometimes between a race and a training run. It's 100%. Like, you've got all this, sometimes it carries you along and sometimes it just punishes you.
It's so funny.
So much of that's just what's up here to begin with,
That's it. And then we go back out and do it. And the next time, right, we're having the time of our lives, and we're the ones chit-chatting and talking about our food and everything else. And there's some other person there who's like, can you just get away from me? Like, please. Like, I've had enough of you. This reminds me of one time I was running a half with a buddy of mine, and it was pouring rain. And we're cooking with Crisco. Like, we're moving fast. And I hear this person behind us with these steps in the splashy water, right? And it's just annoying. Like, it's not their fault. It's raining, like as if the water isn't all around us, right? And I say to my buddy, and I'm like, I got to pick it up, dude. This guy cannot stay behind us with that slappy footfall onto this rainy pavement. And so we start picking up the pace, right? And sure enough, what happens? He picks up the pace too, and I'm like, fuck. Like, forget it. Just run the race. I mean, eventually he petered out after about a mile, but my goodness, it was like one of those things. Like, I just got to get away from this. I cannot take it for another second.
No, I've experienced that for sure, especially in some of these bigger races. And you're just like, it's like I said, it's like the person who sounds like they're wearing scuba fins behind you, slapping the pavement. And I'm like, how do you run this far like that? Like, how do you? It seems like you would break everything in your body doing that. But, I thought the only other better ending to your story is if it turned out that the slapping feet you were hearing were your own.
Was my own.
You're trying to outrun them, and they're just pacing you. They're matching your tempo, matching your cadence.
Those are the dreams you have before like a big race where you're like, I'm going to run away from this person, and that person is yourself. All right, dude, we're running out of time here, but in the background, it looks like there's a banjo, a guitar, and a ukulele. Is that a violin or a ukulele? Oh, it's an ukulele.
Yep. No. There's actually, look at that. That's even worse.
It has a couple of banjos. So, which of those three do you prefer to play? Like, if you were like, I'm going to just strum, which one are you grabbing off the wall first?
Probably the guitar. I don't play any of them well. I don't play the uke at all. That's my wife's, but I'm a dabbler. We probably have 20 different musical instruments in this house. I love music. I do that with anything. I taught myself to knit, and I did it for about a month, and then I put it down and was like, figured that out. Don't need to make anything. I just want to know how it works. So, I can play 6 or 7 chords on the guitar. I can finger pick a tiny bit, learned like 2 tunes on the banjo. I aspire to be really good at all of these, just like I aspire to be really good at every distance and every style of running. But it ain't happening. I like to get the guitar down though and strum once in a while.
Is there a song that has a guitar riff in it or a guitar solo that you're like, man, if I could do that?
No, I'm not a riff or a solo guy. I get the chords, and that's about it. I mean, there are plenty of songs that I admire, and again, guitar players that I love. And a lot of what I listen to again is like that Americana kind of stuff. There's a guitar player, young guy named Billy Strings right now, who's just unbelievable. Dude can plays an acoustic guitar, but he can shred. He's working in metal licks, and then it's bluegrass, and then it's old timey stuff, and then it's just straight up rock and roll. And he's amazing. Jason Isbell, the songwriter I mentioned earlier, he's just a killer guitar player. I really like the old flat pickers, Doc Watson, and some of the other kind of Americana.
I mean, if your name is Billy Strings, you have to be good at the guitar, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure that's his the name he was born with.
It'd be like if my last name was Cook. Like, I'd have to be good at making food, right? You just have to.
Yep.
That's the way it rolls.
You have to. You're born to it.
Dude, thank you so much for joining us on the Fiery Embers. Congratulations to you once again on finishing your first marathon. And I know that, soon enough, you'll be sharing stories about being out on the trail again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Will do. Thank you for having me. And I really appreciate it. Appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Thank you. For those of you who have stuck around and listened to that entire episode, that is what Fiery Embers is all about. We literally just have fun getting to know our guests without worrying about paces or mileage or any of that other stuff that you can find in a lot of other shows except for this one. We want to have fun, we want to laugh, and we want you to enjoy the time while you are listening to this and have a good laugh as well. So thank you for joining us on Fiery Embers on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, and we'll see you next time when we have another great conversation with another great everyday athlete.